So I found a clip that I'm going to play at the end of this, and I'm not going to bounce directly after. I'll have something to share at the end of it. But I got to thinking about it when I was watching this clip, and it's about time we talk about these so-called experts in this world. So the vast majority of us hear things like World Economic Forum and World Health Organization, and we think it means something important or that they have some kind of authority. And you know what? I'll tell you what, they don't. So if you just look real quick here on the World Economic Forum, they just talk about nonsense. Agendas that help their causes. And I think, they're like the Kiwanis or something. Or they're like Shriners. They're nothing. They're people with money, clearly. They can build great buildings. And they're almost like think tanks, if you got to think of it in a certain way. They say they're the World Health Organization, and they have their assembly, which looks like the United Nations. No legal authority for either organization. They have their executive board, and you can talk about their meetings. Executive board, unelected executive board. So why elected governments are paying attention to them is beyond me. And then you got the people in charge. I think that's George Jefferson when he was young. Any of you old people know that. Look at Sherman Hemsley. It looks a lot like him. So they call it a World Health Organization. And these are the executive officers of the board. India, Oman, Kenya, Germany, Ghana, and Tonga. 5 nations. That doesn't quite make up the whole world. Pretty sure there are 163 countries out there. And then you even look at the governance. There's 23 countries represented in this alleged World Health Organization. It kind of reminds me of how the NFL has a world championship and all of the teams are only in America. So, it's just crazy, nonsensical stuff. And then when you go to the funding and you see member states and other partners fund them, well, that's like paying your dues, like I said, at the Kiwanis Club or at the Shriners Club. And they're no better and they're no smarter. And here you go. Contributors to the core contributions. Last couple of years. UK, Northern Ireland, Sweden, Norway, Australia, Netherlands, Belgium, European everything. Let's see. Oh yeah, so it doesn't tell you, but if any politicians in the United States are using the World Organization nonsense to make decisions for people who voted for them, you guys are treasonous bastards and it's time to go. So I'm going to play you this clip coming up, and then I got a quick thing to say when we finish. Thank you.
Supporting in the care of patients. We've seen volunteers come forward. We've seen retirees come forward, come out of retirement. But I just want to highlight that while we can increase the innovations, and that is really advancing our ability to care for patients and to keep health workers safe, we don't have that same capacity to increase the health workforce. And I would be remiss if I didn't add that we need, as individuals, to do everything we can to prevent ourselves from getting infected and needing to be cared for in a health facility. We cannot emphasize this enough. The burden on the healthcare facilities, on healthcare workers right now in many countries across the world is really astounding. While case numbers are declining in a number of countries, the numbers of deaths are increasing. The demands on health workers are increasing. And so we must do everything that we can, especially as the Director General has said, through the holiday season and into the new year, do what we can to protect ourselves and protect our loved ones, because health workforce right now is a finite capacity. And we just need to all play our part to try to prevent us from needing that care in the first place.
Thank you very much, Dr. Van Kerkhoff. So the next question goes to John Miller of Reuters. John, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you very much for taking my question. At the outset, you talked about eliminating unnecessary travel for the upcoming holidays. There's a broad discussion going on among numerous countries in Europe and beyond about the appropriateness of holding a ski season. Some countries favor it, some countries are opposed to it. In general, skiing requires either short distance or long distance travel. What is the WHO's position on holding a ski season, and can it be done safely, or should countries stop skiing for the year until there is a solution to the virus? Thanks.
So thanks for this. I can start, and maybe Mike would like to add here. In terms of all of these questions specific to a ski season, or specific to travel, or specific to any activity, what WHO advises is a risk-based approach in terms of what can be done, how it can be done, if it can be postponed, and if it can't be postponed, how it can be done safely. Skiing is no different. There are different countries, that are looking at whether to keep it open or to close it, whether they can keep it open in a safe manner. But what WHO has outlined are ways in which people can reduce the opportunities for them to be infected. If the virus is circulating in an area, and if people are in close contact in that area, the virus can spread. It's as simple as that. And so what are the measures that need to be taken to be able to minimize that risk, minimize that opportunity for spread? So there are ways in which different activities can be held safely or in a more safe manner, but right now there is no zero risk. And while we are definitely seeing some improvements in case incidents in many countries across Europe, it has come at quite some high cost due to the stay-at-home measures and the other restrictive measures that have been put in place. We really need to remain vigilant in terms of everything that we could do to prevent that spread. So it needs to be a risk-based approach in looking at what policies decision makers need to be put in place, taking into account the circulation of the virus, the measures that could be put in place to keep people physically distant from one another, to make sure that we don't give the virus an opportunity to spread further.
Yeah, I agree with Maria. This really has to be a risk-managed approach. And the risk in this is not necessarily skiing itself. I suspect many people won't be infected while barreling down the slopes on their skis. The real issues are going to come at airports, on buses taking people to and from ski resorts, ski lifts, and places where pinch points in the skiing sort of experience, where people come together in large numbers, and there are pinch points in that. Not to mention the après ski that so many people seem to enjoy is another issue. So here you're dealing with issues of airline transport, bus transport, the open air closing of bars. It's not just about skiing, it's a much broader issue. So I don't think we should be reducing this down to skiing or ski season. What every government needs to be looking at is all forms of gatherings that lead to people congregating or moving en masse, and how they're going to de-risk those processes. If they don't believe those processes can be de-risked enough, then curtailing, postponing, or managing it in that way. And I think rather than targeting the ski season, the next thing it'll be spring season and the hiking season, and then we'll be, we had the previous issue in summer and holidays. So I think rather than targeting the actual activity, it's important for governments now to look at the risk management end to end in this process. So governments who are potentially don't have skiing as part of their economic activity may be sending lots of people to go skiing who may return with the risk. So it's not just the places in which skiing occurred, it's the risk that's exchanged between locations based on the movement of people. It's not that they went skiing or they're going skiing. That's not the issue. The issue is any activity that involves large numbers of people moving into a concentrated space and then using public and other transport to get there and back needs to be managed carefully, and it needs to be managed, as Maria said, with very much a risk management approach. We don't hold a position on whether something should be cancelled or not cancelled, because the circumstances change in each and every jurisdiction. So we would advise that all countries look at their ski season and other reasons for mass gathering, be they sports, recreation or religious, and looks very, very carefully at the end-to-end risks associated with that.
So we'll just wrap this up a little bit. To Dr. Maria Katahova and Dr. Michael Ryan from the clip, guess what? Don't care what you think about this. I don't know if these people are sinister or if they're stupid. But anybody who's seen my channel or the channels we watch or channels that you've seen me go to or whatever, you know the numbers don't add up. You know the political agenda doesn't match. You know the global reset. You know. So to those people who are trying to push this stuff, just stop it. Go find something better to do. You're not helping anybody. And if you're part of the World Health Organization, that's like me going down and joining some lodge. It means nothing. Don't care. You people, you're done. Your time's up. We're not listening. We're not having it. We're not going to enter the winter and all die from starvation and no economy. We're not that stupid. So I encourage everybody listening, stick together. Leave your comment. Thanks for watching and have a good day.